Hey guys. Mike. Guess what day it is? Happy Wednesday, you guys. Good to see everybody. Man, oh man. Today was lit. Let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Chick Tracy. Hi, Aussie Girl Jen. Hey, Sugar Beat. Hey, Anaphylaxis. How are you guys? Hey, Heather, whatever. Good to see you guys. So glad that you guys made it in. It's always nice to see my familiars. Y'all. Oh, are you, Chick Tracy? Everybody keeps telling me to get into that show. And I do love British TV. And I think I feel like I should get into Downton Abbey. Can't even talk. But hey, Amelia Sparkles. Aw, babe, I hope you feel better. Hey, Smalls. Everybody keeps telling me I need to watch the show, and I think I'm going to, but I can't at this time because Friday is when the first part of the new season of Stranger Things comes out, and I'm committed. So I'll put Downton Abbey on my list of things to watch in between show commitments, which I'll probably end up liking it and then have to juggle show commitments again. But I will find a way. One thing about me is I am tenacious. Okay. I do too. I am so I'm just hooked on that. I'm just hooked on it. I've been hooked since episode 1, season 1. Like I just absolutely love the show. But you guys know I'm kind of a nerd, and I do enjoy like the 80s stuff that they put in there, and all that stuff. So it's right up my alley. I mean, it has everything you could ever want in a show, really. Well, me, anything that I could ever want. Okay. So today was something else. So I thought what we would do is do a little bit of skipping around, and I'm going to play everything that happened today. Not every single little tiny thing, because obviously that would be 8 hours of testimony. And most of you guys were in here with me this morning, but there are some like highlights that I want to go over just briefly, because I think that getting into, we just got to get into all of it. Like there was just a lot that unfolded today, and I want. Plus, I really want us all to sort of be caught up as a family, as it were, and be able to have an open panel, either like Friday night or Saturday night, so that we can all wait the verdict together. So, the first thing I'm going to start with is Kate Moss. Hey, Kez Chick, good to see you, babe. Because I want you guys to watch that. She was very, very brief, but what she said was like really, really important. And so I want you guys to hear it. And then we're just going to skip around to the good parts of the trial tonight. Okay. And we're going to discuss. All right. Are y'all ready? Okay, here we go. All right. So this is Kate on the stand today. Let me fix this. I don't like this layout. All right. Too distracting with the background. All right. Are you ready? Here we go.
My name is Ben Chu from the firm of Brown Rudnick. Would you please state your full name for the record?
Kate Moss.
Ms. Moss, where do you reside?
London, England.
From where
Kate
are you
Moss sounds like
testifying
Siri.
today, Ms. Moss?
Hold on. Let me turn her down just a little bit.
Gloucestershire, England.
Ms. Moss, do you know Johnny Depp?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Mr. Depp?
I had a relationship with him.
Did there come a time when you and Mr. Depp had a romantic relationship?
Yes.
For how long, Ms. Moss, were you and Mr. Depp a romantic couple?
Doesn't she, Smalls?
From 1993 to 1994 to 1998.
Yeah, don't say 1993. We don't want
Ms.
no
Moss,
overlap
did there
with
come
Winona.
a time when you, while you and Mr. Depp were a couple, that the two of you took a vacation together to the Golden Eye Resort in Jamaica?
Yes.
What, if anything, happened when you were in Jamaica with Mr. Depp?
We were leaving the room, and Johnny left the room before I did, and there had been a rainstorm. And as I left the room, I slid down the stairs, and I hurt my back.
Hey, I've
How
learned a
did
lot.
you-
Good to see you.
I apologize, Ms. Moss. Please continue.
And I screamed because I was because I didn't know what had happened to me, and I was in pain. And he came running back to help me and carried me to my room and got me medical attention.
Did Mr. Depp push you in any way down the stairs?
No,
During the course of your relationship, did he ever push you down any stairs?
no, he never pushed me,
Hi,
kicked
Shmita.
me, or threw me down any stairs.
Ms. Moss, have you ever before today testified in any kind of court proceeding?
No, I have never.
Why did you decide to testify today?
Objection, Your Honor.
All right,
That's beyond the scope of what we just talked about.
all right, I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you, Ms. Moss. We have nothing further at this time. We greatly appreciate your taking the time to
All
testify.
right, any cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you, Ms. Moss.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the one and only timeless Kate Moss. And I mean, she did exactly what she needed to do. Amber Heard had opened the door and spoke about this rumor, right, that she says she heard, and that not only did she talk about this rumor that she'd heard, right, but she used it as a justification for why she punched Johnny Depp. So I yeah, that happened. So it was very important for Kate Moss to be there today. And I'm glad that she was. I thought I thought it was excellent. She said what she needed to say. She clarified uh, a situation that she was personally involved in. Now, here is what's interesting to me about that. So, when Amber Heard is testifying about this rumor, right, that Johnny Depp pushed Kate down the stairs. By the time that the stair event between Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, and Whitney happened, Amber and Johnny Depp had been together for a while and they were married. So, what I find interesting is that Amber used the term rumor. She said, I remembered the rumor that I heard, or something to that effect, right? Wouldn't you know at that point in your relationship whether or not that was whether the rumor was true or not? See, and that's part of these little itty bitty tiny nuances that continue to happen. And you know, I I I I worry sometimes that some of these important details may get lost in the shenanigans and the salaciousness of the testimony. And then, just even whenever, like just Dr. Spiegel last night, yesterday or the day before, whenever that was, I can't even remember. My days are all messed up. But even when, all of that occurred, right? Nobody really remembers what exactly he testified to. He I do want to play, not tonight. I'm going to have to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do this, because what they did put on last night when I ended it. um Jennifer, God, I'm going to get her name wrong. I keep wanting to say Holland. Hey Max 2002, good to see you. And yes, Smalls, it was very smart not to cross, because um she has not been deposed, so they have no idea. You never want to ask a question you don't know the answer to, you know? So, what is Jennifer's last name? The letter writing lady. Is it Holland, or what is, I don't know. I know one of you guys know, and I know you'll put it in the chat. My brain is just DONE. Anyway, when we ended last night, okay, after Mr. Knight testified, the Johnny Depp's team put on a rebuttal witness to Dr. Spiegel. And I do want us to watch that. We don't have to do it tonight because there's other stuff that's like I want to go over. Maybe we'll do it Friday night, or maybe even tomorrow, depending on how tomorrow goes. But anyhow, the letter writer who directly contradicts Whitney's version of events, and even goes further and says that she was on the receiving end of a full glass of wine. So she did testify, and then the rebuttal witness for Dr. Spiegel was on last night too. So I want to. Do we want to watch? Hey, Maria, it's been a very long while. Or Jennifer Howard. Thank you, Amelia. Howell? Is it Howell? Howell. Jennifer Howell. What'd I say? Holland is what I think I said. I need to Howell. Are you Maria, this Jen, or Aussie Jen? Because there's two Jens. So, yeah. At the Ward farm. wow. Yeah. Farm. We're a farm. We're a fam. Farm fam. So anyway, do we want to hear Dr. Um Curry? Let's oh, okay, good. I just wanted to make sure it was me, Jen, because I I already was extra and thought somebody was talking to me when they were talking to Aussie Girl Jen, and it's easier just to type Jen for Aussie Girl Jen because that's a long name. Okay. I'm already on a rip rock and roll. All right. So do we want to hear? Let's hear. How about we do this? Let's hear. Um Hold on. Let me go over here because I know it's in the highlights. Let's hear Dr. Curry's cross exam because now keep in mind what is going on up until this point. Okay. We're now at the very end of the trial. When the day ended today, the judge wanted um the jury instructions and any like disagreements that they had, and nobody was they ended early, like at 4:40, and so almost an hour or a little less than an hour early, and she didn't want anybody to leave until they had those jurors instructions and any objections they had, and she or disputes, and she wanted it all on her bench before everybody left, and then they were going to take up the that bit of, oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in you guys' ear, it's kind of just came out. They were going to take that up, right? She was going to deal with that at some point tomorrow. Well, so we're getting to the very end now. She wants this case turned over to the jury by Friday. Okay. And hold on a second. I might have to play it a different way. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to play it a different way. So there's not a whole lot of time on the clock left. Okay. By the end of today, Johnny's team still had 7 hours left on the clock. Y'all brace yourselves. Are you sitting down? Are you fully braced? Because this took me all the way back. Back, I should say. Okay. Amber's team has 1 hour, 16 minutes left on the clock. So basically, Dr. Curry gets on and she is 111 billion% refuting everything that Dr. Hughes testified to. And she broke it all down about the testing methods and why they're not good in that, in the type of setting, because this is a forensic psychological evaluation, that some of the tests that were administered by Dr. Hughes were for like in a treatment setting. Just in fact, you know what? I'm going to play her quick because her testimony isn't really super duper long, but it is super duper important, and I want you guys to be able to hear it. So, oh, there's Kate. Oh, cripes. Here we go. All right. Oh, went too fast. All right, right here. All right, so we're going to listen to oh, wait, I did the wrong thing. We're going to listen to Dr. Curry because I really want you guys to hear. We're not going to listen to all of it, but just the good, like, key points, because y'all, yeah. How are they so what I'm thinking is, how in the world are they even going to be able, who would they even be able to put on as a rebuttal witness? I mean, I suppose they could, if they kept their direct questioning to 15 minutes, they might be able to get through it. might be able to get a few people on, but they're going to have to, Elaine, I'm looking at you, Elaine. Elaine is going to have to streamline her questioning, and she needs to have like she needs to know, she needs to move quickly because they get a redirect. So she most definitely needs to have everything prepared in advance, a contingency plan if things are questions are asked and objected to, and the objection is sustained. Elaine, I'm going to need for you tonight to no more knitting cat onesies, okay, that say what if any on them. You're going to have to bring your A game. I don't know what Amber's drinking in the water bottle that's got that purplish hue, but you might ask your girl to hook you up. All right, here we go. Because you're going to need it. Oh, I muted her. Pardon me, Dr. Curry. It's so rude.
Good morning, Mr. Dennison.
Good morning.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Lupe. Oh, long time no see, Lupe. Good to see you, babe.
Please call Shannon Curry, Dr.
Yeah.
Shannon Curry.
That's fine. Ma'am, you're still under oath, so please have a seat, doctor.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Curry.
Good morning.
Can you remind the jury who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm Dr. Shannon Curry.
I will
I'm
be
a
right
clinical
back.
and
I have
forensic
to let
psychologist,
Nestor
and
out.
I'm here today to rebut the testimony that was provided by Dr. Hughes.
Which of the opinions rendered by Dr. Hughes do you intend to rebut?
So generally speaking, there are three main categories that I'd like to talk about today. So the first is that Dr. Hughes misrepresented the tests and the results that she utilized in her evaluation. She misrepresented my testing and the results that I obtained in my evaluation. And she communicated in a manner, provided testimony in a manner that presented essentially her own opinions and the self-report of Ms. Heard as facts.
Okay, the first category you talked about was a misrepresentation of her own test methods and results. What do you mean by that?
So Dr. Hughes she stated that she administered 12 tests. In actuality, she used 8 checklists. About half of those were symptom checklists. The other half were checklists about experiences that people can have with domestic violence. And those are not appropriate for forensic settings. They are easily exploited.
Other issues that you intend to address relative to misrepresentation of own results?
Yes, so in addition to using these checklist measures, which are easily exploited in a forensic context, they're developed for research or treatment only. She also stated that these checklists revealed things that they simply cannot reveal, especially in this context. Let's see. She also misrepresented clear indications on several of the objective measures that she offered. And there were indications visible that Ms. Heard had essentially engaged in what we call response distortion. So clear indications of exaggeration on one of the measures that's specific to PTSD, clear minimization of symptoms intentional on another more broad personality and psychopathology-based measure that she gave to Ms. Heard, which she did not acknowledge.
Did you intend to address anything relative to the CAPS-5?
I did. So Dr. Hughes administered the CAPS-5 about 10 days after I did, almost 2 years after she initially tested Ms. Heard, and she did not administer the test appropriately. So she left major components blank. She didn't apply the scoring rules that are clearly outlined with the test, and yet she diagnosed Ms. Heard with PTSD based on that assessment.
What about Dr. Hughes's use of the personality assessment inventory?
So of the tests that Dr. Hughes administered, 2 would be considered, of those 12, 2 would be considered what we call forensically relevant instruments, meaning that they're objective enough and they provide us with some information about how the examinee approached the test, that it would be appropriate for this setting where the examinee is going to have a natural incentive to present themselves in a way that benefits the outcome of their case. Now, on the PAI, there were clear indications that Ms. Heard was responding and obtained scores in a manner that's consistent with individuals who have a personality disorder. And there was also an indication that several scales, we call this a configuration. So you might have one main scale that you notice is elevated, Then you look for additional subscale information and get additional information on what could be elevating that scale. And there was a configuration that showed that even though Ms. Heard had moderately elevated one of the scales that can be associated with trauma, that elevation is better explained by childhood or distant traumatic experiences like the complex trauma Ms. Heard reported experiencing growing up.
Okay. You said that Dr. Hughes utilized checklists that are not appropriate for forensic analysis. Can you
Yes.
explain that?
Yes, so as I said, in any sort of forensic context, whether it's a civil or a criminal matter, a person who's being evaluated is going to have major incentive to present in a way that benefits the outcome of their case. So you always approach the examination, I believe Dr. Hughes said, with a healthy dose of skepticism, but that alone is not enough. We have to operationalize that. So we actually have to administer very comprehensive objective tests that either control for attempts to manipulate the test results or reveal attempts to manipulate the test results, so that we're not just blindly accepting the results or the self-report of the examinee.
How many tests were administered by Dr. Hughes?
She said that she administered 12 tests.
How many of them were appropriate for forensic physical examination?
So the trauma symptom inventory is appropriate. It's an objective measure, and it does have two primary scales that look at how the person approached the test. The personality assessment inventory is an excellent test. It is a broadband measure, meaning that it captures not only symptoms of mental illness, but also general personality traits. That also gives us pretty detailed scales similar to that one test I administered, the MMPI, that tells us a lot of nuanced information about the way the person approached the test. She also administered a malingering screen that can be very, very useful, but not in this context. So it's called the Miller Forensic Assessment Symptom Test. It's a brief set of questions that you ask the examinee, and it's been shown by research to be extremely effective at identifying an examinee's attempts to fake a severe mental illness or psychosis. And psychosis is when somebody loses complete connection with reality. It's excellent for that purpose. It's actually been shown in research to not be effective at all for identifying a respondent's attempts to fake PTSD, anxiety, or mood disorders. The questions are just too odd for somebody who has the wherewithal to be trying to have PTSD to endorse. They see through it. So she used that. That's a fine test, but not appropriate for this context.
Of the various tests that she administered, how many were these checklists?
8 of them.
All right, and what are you talking about specifically?
Okay. So I had mentioned that there were 2 main categories of checklists she used. The first is the symptom checklists. Those included the Beck Depression Inventory. It's a brief inventory of items that essentially show all of the symptoms of depression that a person might have, and you rate which level of severity you have for each question. She also gave the Beck Anxiety Inventory, very similar, but just with questions about anxiety. She gave the Mood Disorder Questionnaire, which is a very brief, again, checklist. It shows symptoms of bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder where you might have an extended manic episode and then a very extended depressive episode. And then she gave the Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Checklist, and that is a screening instrument only. It contains every single symptom of PTSD. So there's a secondary danger here too. When you think about it, given that PTSD is the most frequently feigned and claimed diagnosis in civil courts, if you're handing somebody a checklist that lists every single symptom of PTSD, you're essentially teaching them all the little nuances that we're looking for to give that diagnosis. So she gave that to Ms. Heard.
Foiled
Ms.
again.
Heard endorsed most of the items, and Dr. Hughes diagnosed her with PTSD and substantiated that opinion by Ms. Heard's checking those items on the PCL-5.
Well, it's really not your fault, Sarah, that you miss things. Sometimes I'd be talking over the testimony, and that's a problem. And that's probably why you missed it, because I probably said something. But she's definitely, look at Amber's face. I mean, that just says it all, doesn't it? All right, I'm going to skip forward to the cross-examination because this is where hold on, it gets
A way to
deep.
talk about it, because now it's been put to words.
All right, hold on.
For your treatment, it's specific,
All right, hold on. Oh crap.
which is really the bottom line of the assessment. Did the person have a change in functioning from before the alleged trauma, or in this case, the alleged IPV, to after? Is there a decline in the way they're
Oh, I forgot. They started off cross-examination with the whole sidebar. All right, here we go. I'm finally learning how, I'm finally using my 5-second skip. Oh my gosh.
Dr. Curry, violence checklist that you were talking about.
Yes, so we do have professional standards that require that.
All right, hold on. I went too far. Back. Yeah, I did.
I just want to make sure you had several designations, expert transparency. I just there as well, right?
A mule.
That you did have,
I don't know. I do remember
correct? With Mr. Waldman. So you
started to get hungry. I was in
hours. You
Because I really want
No,
you
no.
guys to hear this
No.
part at the very beginning, because
have you are being
what
and you've
I
been,
this is a new element that we
Dr.
didn't
Curry, I just want to
hear.
make sure that we all remember you're not board certified, correct?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
We all
And you've
remember
been
Elaine.
licensed for how long?
I've been licensed for 10 years.
Okay. And you are being paid by Mr. Depp's legal team to be here, correct?
Yes,
How much have you charged so far?
I actually don't know.
Over 100,000?
I truly don't know. I don't do my own books.
Over 200,000?
I don't know.
I don't do
Over
my own
300,000?
books.
That would be way too much, but I do not know.
Okay. Now, just so that we all remember, you had dinner at Mr. Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours with Mr. Depp, Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez, correct?
I was interviewed. I asked if there was anything I could eat because at about 3 hours I started to get hungry. Mr. Depp then offered to order takeout for the entire team.
So you had dinner with at Mr. Depp's home with Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, Ms. Vasquez, and Mr. Depp, correct?
Yes,
And you had drinks as well, correct?
I actually don't know. I do remember that there were drinks.
Do you recall testifying earlier that you did have a drink, a mule something?
No, I remember testifying that there might have been a mule, a Moscow mule.
Okay, thank you. We didn't have animals there as well, right?
No animals.
Okay, that's good to know.
Mhm.
And you talked about transparency. I just want to make sure you had several designations, expert designations and reports in this case, correct?
Yes,
And in not one of them did you
Literally nobody
disclose
gives a damn
that you
about the
had
dinner.
dinner and drinks at Mr. Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours with Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez. Is that correct?
Ms. Bredehoff, you're mischaracterizing what occurred.
Dr. Curry, please answer the question. Not once
She
did you
did.
disclose this in any of your
I
reports.
did not
correct?
disclose that I was interviewed as that standard procedure.
But it's true that you have never gone to a client's house to be interviewed for an expert witness position, correct?
Yes, because I never had a client that was essentially homebound because of their celebrity status.
All right. And you
And
talked
you-
to Mr. Depp for 3 to 4 hours before taking on the role of assessing Ms. Heard and deciding whether she was suffering from any distress, correct?
I did not talk to Mr. Depp. I was talking to his legal team and he was there to observe.
He was present for the 3 to 4
Yes.
hours. And are you saying now he just stayed silent and said nothing all day?
I don't recall what he didn't or didn't do. I was answering questions.
Okay. Now, your
Elaine had a whole
expertise here
Bismarck
is
moment
limited to
there.
whether Amber Heard
You-
suffers from PTSD currently. Is that correct?
Yes, I was tasked with conducting an evaluation to
Okay,
determine
Dr.
Ms.
Curry,
Heard's mental
you know, we're on
status.
very, very strict time limitations
Okay.
because we promised to get this case to the jury. So I'd really appreciate if you just answer my question rather than trying to go further,
Sure.
okay? Thank you very much. Now, after you had the dinner, you then provided a designation in February of 2021 in which you said, and this is long before you ever saw Amber Heard, correct?
Elaine
You said
is
that Amber
jealous
Heard,
that
quote,
she had to
exhibits
stand in
patterns of
line for
behavior that are
hours to meet
consistent with
Johnny Depp.
co-occurring cluster B
And this
personality
girl
disorder
is
traits,
not
especially
only
borderline
meeting her-
personality disorder,
Oh,
end of
so
quote,
hold
correct?
on.
No,
No, we went through this before.
we did.
I'm
And
pausing
that
it.
was
Yeah,
on
we
the
went through
designation.
this before, Elaine, and you didn't come out looking good on that time either. Look, Elaine is bigly, hugely mad because of the fact that she stood in line for hours to meet Johnny Depp, and Dr. Curry over here not only did not have to stand in line for hours, she was invited over and was at the house, and also is being paid by Mr. Depp. Elaine is bigly mad. Okay, here we go.
Was it not?
I told you last time that I did not write that.
Okay, and you don't know who did on the legal team, correct?
No.
Okay, and then I also asked you, if you may recall, whether you listened to the audio recording in which Mr. Depp taunted Amber Heard that she had a borderline personality disorder. Do you recall that?
I recall you asking me that, yes.
Did you recall listening to that audio tape?
I don't recall Mr. Depp taunting Ms. Heard. I do recall that he at some point suggested she might have that diagnosis.
Okay, and that was back in these audio tapes back when they were together, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now you've never before been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to someone who has
Bigly, hugely
bipolar
mad.
disorder, correct?
No, as I previously stated, that's not true.
All right.
Yeah, here goes Elaine showing us how we're not wasting the court's time,
Not
how
up here
the
anymore.
strict timeline, strict time crunch.
Your Honor, can we approach?
All
It's
right.
very important. Here they come approaching. We're going to skip forward a little bit. Actually, let me just put it on 2x speed since it's quiet right now and get there. 'Cause they're up at the they're having another sidebar for literally no reason.
Now, you recall testifying in your deposition on March 21, 2022, correct?
Yes.
And you were under oath at that time, correct?
Yes.
And the question I just showed you on page 207, line 5, have you ever been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to whether someone has bipolar disorder? And your answer at that time was no, correct?
Yes, I'd forgotten that case.
Okay. And have you ever been asked to testify whether anyone has behavioral or characterological conduct that suggests they may be an IPV perpetrator?
What?
I can't, yeah, I may have. It's difficult after about 250 cases. It's difficult to remember specifically.
All right. And have you ever been qualified as an expert in the area of IPV?
No.
And have you ever been qualified to testify as an expert in domestic abuse or violence?
Domestic.
Abuse or violence?
Yes, that's been a component of testimony.
Right.
She did. She totally had a Biz Marquee moment. She did. She was all, you.
Okay.
I was waiting for her to finish it. Got what I need. Right?
Line 16 of page 207, have you ever been qualified as an expert in the area of IPV? Your answer on
Isn't
line
it
20 was no, under oath,
characterological?
correct? Then the next question,
Not
have you ever been qualified to testify
characterological?
as an expert in domestic abuse or violence? That and goes into page 208, line 4. The answer then under oath was no. Now, you would agree that the literature is quite clear that trauma-based symptoms such as PTSD or complex PTSD have symptoms that overlap with borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and you would agree that it's important to use valid and reliable measures for an accurate diagnosis, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. You
Intimate
chose,
partner
however,
violence,
not
Heather,
to
whatever.
administer the structured clinical interview for DSM-5 personality disorders, the SKID, is that correct?
I did.
Okay. And would you agree that that is a state-of-the-art structured clinical interview?
Not for a forensic evaluation with a sophisticated examinee.
But to determine if a personality disorder is present?
No, not in this setting.
You don't agree with that?
I'm
do
going to
not.
see
You don't
what
agree
I'm
that
going to
that
see
is
if
the
it's a
gold standard
word.
assessment for reliable, accurate psychiatric diagnosis?
I'm
It's a
hitting
good
up the
one,
Googles.
But for treatment settings especially.
This is important.
Now, did Ms. Heard, you said you talked about, you read all of the treatment records, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall reading the treatment records for the psychologist Bonnie Jacobs, who saw Amber Heard over 5 years?
I do.
And did you see anything in Bonnie Jacobs' notes over 5 years in which she diagnosed Ms. Heard with borderline personality or histrionic personality disorder?
No.
Now, you also saw the notes of Dr.
Yeah, excuse me, Elaine. This is very important too. This is important. It's oh my God, characterological. That's what it is. That's a word. I'll type it out for you guys in chat so you can know.
Connell Cohen, correct?
Mhm.
And you even attended his deposition, correct?
Yes.
All right. And he saw Amber for roughly 2 years. He was part of the Dr. Kipper connection, right?
Yes.
Right, okay. And did you see anything in Dr. Cowan's notes? And did he say in his deposition that he diagnosed Amber Heard with borderline personality disorder?
Hey,
or
Jody, it's
histrionic
cool. Good
personality
to see
disorder?
ya.
I saw the symptoms clearly delineated throughout his notes and in
It's
his
her
deposition.
pronunciation
He does
that's
not use
incorrect, I
diagnoses, So he
believe.
would not have diagnosed her.
He said specifically in his deposition, he did not diagnose her with that, correct?
Yes, and he also specifically stated that he does not use diagnoses.
All right. And you also have seen Dr. Banks, Dr. Amy Banks, the psychiatrist, her deposition, correct?
Yes,
And did
not
Dr.
her
Anderson,
deposition. I reviewed her notes in the transcript.
all right, did Dr. Anderson diagnose Ms. Heard with borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder?
I don't believe she provided any diagnosis since she was a couples therapist.
All right. Now, you've said quite a bit about Don Hughes, but do you remember how many years of experience Don Hughes has in IPV and domestic abuse and violence?
I know it's quite a bit.
Extensive, and she is board certified, correct?
Yes, she is.
All right, and she spent 29 hours of examination with Amber Heard, did she not?
Yes, mostly
Okay.
interviewing.
All right, and she interviewed her therapists, Bonnie Jacobs and Connie Cowell, correct?
Yes,
And she also interviewed Amber's late mother,
yes.
okay, and she administered 12 different tests over the period of
Good
that time,
night,
correct?
Sarah.
Well, as I said, the
Thanks for
majority of
being
those were
here.
checklists, which are inappropriate.
Oh,
for
they'll
the
be
forensic
alive,
setting.
babe.
I understand, that's what you say, but she administered 12 different tests, correct?
If you want to qualify them as
Coolest
tests,
of-
sure.
I'm sorry,
And so
coolest.
you.
I get songs
you
stuck in your
disregard-
head.
No, I'm not even gonna say
I'm
that.
so
Okay.
sorry.
Let's go to the CAPS-5
Characterological
and
in your
PTSD. Now, you
scripts.
assessed Ms. Heard's traumas in her life, correct?
Yes, I did. I
Okay.
gave her an instrument to assess for any trauma exposure throughout the entire lifespan.
Yes, it's fine. And you wrote that Ms. Heard's exposure to a traumatic event, namely one of the sexual assaults by Mr. Depp, more than satisfied this requirement. Did you not write that in your notes?
That is not what I wrote in my notes. Do you have my notes? So we
And
can
you
look at them?
administered a structured clinical interview based on that trauma, correct?
Not exactly. It's not quite right.
Okay. Now, Dr. Hughes administered a full intimate partner violence assessment, correct?
That's not a psychological assessment. We can't assess for intimate partner violence. That's an event.
Dr. Hughes administered a full intimate partner violence assessment,
She
correct?
stated that, and that's actually something I'm rebutting today.
Okay, and you reviewed her psychological testing?
I sure did, yes.
Okay, and are you aware that in September 2019, Ms. Heard had a trauma-based symptom on many of those valid tests?
Can you be a little bit more specific? Many of those valid tests, which tests are you talking
Do
about?
you have a recollection of that, September 2019?
She administered all of her testing in September 2019, so I'm not sure which one, oh, except for the CAPS-5, which was 10 days after mine in 2021.
Now, Dr. Hughes clinically evaluated those symptoms and established that Ms. Heard does have
Characterological.
PTSD from the totality of the intimate partner violence by Mr. Depp, correct?
That's what she stated, yes.
Okay. Now, Dr. Anderson's clinical notes that said Amber had come to.
Objection hearsay.
I haven't even asked the question yet, Your Honor.
You said that
You gotta read the
said.
notes.
Well, no, actually, I wasn't going to read her notes. I was
Okay.
going to ask a particular question.
Okay.
You talked about danger. Do you recall that in your testimony?
Yes,
All right. Now, if a patient comes to you as a couples therapist
Mhm.
with two black eyes, would you assess that there may be a potential danger there?
sure.
Okay. Did you read Dr. Anderson's notes?
She
I
said
believe I
she
did.
did 87 times, Elaine. Where were you? Are you even here
Now, you
today?
administered the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory 2, the MMPI-2. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And you used that to determine whether Amber had PTSD, right?
not by itself, but it was a part of the data.
Okay. And in the 60 to 70 T-score range for that test, which, quote, deliberate attempts to mislead are uncommon, end quote, isn't that correct?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
In the T-score
Mhm.
section of that, for which assesses deliberate attempts to mislead. Do you recall? She scored a 60 on that test, correct?
So there are multiple T-scores for each scale, so I'm not sure which scale you're talking about.
Okay. Well, we can deal with that later. So
There is no
you
later,
agree
Elaine.
that you need to follow ethics and best practices in forensic psychology, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And the two primary sources are the American Psychological Association Ethical Principles and Professional Code of Conduct, right?
Mhm.
And the American Psychological Association's Specialty Guidelines for Forensic Psychology, correct?
yes,
And Specialty Guidelines 1.02 states that forensic practitioners, quote, strive for accuracy, impartiality, fairness, and independence, correct?
yes.
Okay, and specialty guidelines 1.03 states that you have to avoid a conflict of interest.
Yes.
correct?
These might have been better questions for you to ask
Now,
Dr. Spiegel while
in
you were
addition
interviewing him
To not listing the 4 hours you spent with Mr.
Before you
Depp,
hired
Mr.
him.
Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez. You also did not list that you spent an hour with Dr. Shaw, correct?
That's incorrect.
You say that the designation said that you spent
During
an
my
hour-
deposition, I also clarified this. I didn't spend an hour with Dr. Shaw. There was an introduction with the attorneys present on Zoom. My time on that call was less than 30 minutes.
But you still didn't disclose it, did you, in your reports?
No,
Okay. Now, you have not been asked to testify about Ms. Heard's behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr. Depp. Is that correct?
I was asked to testify about somebody's behavioral mental status in general, so that can include behavior involved in a relationship with Mr. Depp, but not specifically.
Can you pull up date 10 of the trial testimony at page 2710?
Elaine, are you really wanting to go down this road?
2710, lines 12 through 18.
May we approach?
All right.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
All right.
All right, let me just cut to the chase here, okay? Well, let me just. What do you keep holding your water up for, Doctor? Bless her little heart. Nobody's going to come by and refill it. Oh, here we go. Who knew? Okay, we're going to waste some more time real quick. It's almost over. It's like 6 minutes left. Yeah, what is DMT? Coolest? I didn't think they would be bringing it to her, though. Oh, brother. Elaine, this is really what you're
Great job.
wasting your time on? Come on, babe.
Okay,
Let's
does the
go.
witness Also have, okay. Yep. So Dr. Curry, this is your testimony from day 10 in this case. And if you can look at page 2710, line 13. Now, my question was, now, is it your testimony under oath today that you have not been asked to testify concerning Ms. Heard's behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr. Depp, including any abuse? And your answer under oath to this jury that day was, that's correct.
Yes,
Correct?
I still agree with that question.
All right. And you have not made any determinations, including any opinions, that Ms. Heard abused Mr. Depp or Mr. Depp abused Ms. Heard, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in fact, you said that's outside the scope.
Yes,
right? Okay.
of psychology.
And you cannot testify whether Amber Heard suffered any emotional distress as a result of any of the defamatory comments that she has alleged Mr. Waldman made through Mr. Depp, or Mr. Depp made through Mr. Waldman, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Do you want me to read my response?
What's the objection? I'm
What
sorry.
I-
Hold on, Dr.
Sorry,
Curry.
Your
That's
Honor.
okay. What's the objection? You're on approach? Okay.
Again, this is an issue. The judge made it very clear yesterday that she was going to be leaving it up to the jury for them to decide if those statements came from Johnny Depp through Waldman. And here comes Elaine trying to pull some shady business.
Now, you
I
have
see
not
you,
rendered
Elaine-
any
Elaine.
opinion as to whether Amber Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that would suggest her allegations of abuse against Mr. Depp are false. Would you agree?
No, I mean, yes, I would agree with that.
Thank you. And you have not, no, that's right. That's all I've got.
Yeah,
No further
that's-
questions.
All right, redirect.
I want you guys to hear the part where she scored real high, because this is Amber Heard's prize moment right
You were
here.
asked about the skid.
Yes,
What's that?
it's a structured clinical interview. It's for rendering a diagnosis. It's best for treatment because you're asking direct questions of the examinee and about symptoms. So if you have an examinee who has a tendency to minimize, you're not going to get much information.
Why didn't you use it?
Because, well, first of all, I had a limited amount of time for my evaluation, and I already had to use, just to complete the interview was extremely time consuming. And I had to even restructure it into handouts so that I could keep Ms. Heard on track. I determined based on that, so this is where you would make an inference. So because I was having difficulty getting direct answers to my questions from Ms. Heard, I had determined that creating forms of those questions would be a better use of the time, which it was. And then I further deduced that adding on the structured clinical interview would probably be unproductive, given that I had limited time and needed to use the best, most reliable methods for getting information in that time.
So you didn't watch
You were
Aquaman
asked about
to get a
the
sense of who
APA
Amber Heard
specialty
was?
guidelines,
Yes,
specifically 1.02 and
Yes.
1.03.
Mhm.
Have you complied with them?
I have.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Curry, you can have a seat in the corner.
Okay,
You're on
so
to go. Thank you, ma'am.
basically on the test that determines if somebody is feigning PTSD, Amber Heard scored 98% higher than most people. No, she scored higher than 98% of the people who take the test. That's what she did. So well played there, Amber. On tests that are for show lies, you excel. Okay. So the other thing that I want to play for you guys is I'm going to play Johnny Depp's the cross-examination of his rebuttal, okay? Because that's very important, I think. Hold on, let me share screen again. Because there appears to be a discrepancy, and I was alerted to it. I have watched it back myself, and I can verify this discrepancy. I don't want to take credit for it, so I'll just say what happened. So I was watching some of the testimony after lunch today, later, way later, like the last, I don't know, couple of hours of testimony today. I started with the metadata guy, and I was over in Better Call Tor, which if somebody, Shmita, are you in here, babe? If you could let me do it. I don't know if you have it, but anyway, so I was in her chat, and BR the Star, who you guys might remember from Criminalities channel, she's a mod over there. She said to me, "Did you catch the texts? The text they're that the name Molly is mentioned is an incoming text." And I said, "Oh my gosh, no, I didn't see that." Because to be quite frank with you, I was sort of laying down, listening, not actually watching. So I missed it. So she told me about that. And then I went and checked it out for myself. And lo and behold, she was correct. She said that Missy caught it. And I feel like it's, is it Missy Lanius? I think that it is. I think that's her screen name, but she goes by Missy. She's the one that caught it. So I want to give full credit because I'm not I was alerted to it, and I'm went and checked it out. So, all right, here we go. Let me put her link in the channel because she's hilarious. She cracks me up. They didn't. Oh my gosh. Yeah, cement shoes. Yeah. So, yeah, well, I did not catch it when I was listening to the trial, because like I said, I was tired, y'all, and I was like laying down and I was listening to the trial, but I wasn't watching it. It's on the TV. So I missed the actual visual, and now I have regrets, but are you kidding me? It's going to be in here, so it'll be fine. All right, ready? Here we go. Yes, thank you, Kez Chick. Let me actually do this better. No, you're absolutely right, Sugar Beet. Do not mess with the true crime
Okay,
community.
you have a seat. All right, cross-examination.
And I love
Thank you,
that
Your
we're all
Honor.
kind of working together on this and, you know, hey, did
Mr.
you
Depp, I'd like to
catch
start
this?
with
No, I
the
missed it.
honeymoon
Did
that
you
you and
catch
Ms. Heard
this?
took in
I love
late July
that.
2015.
Certainly.
You testify that you took a train ride from Bangkok to Singapore. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you claim that on this train ride that
I
Ms.
know,
Heard
Kezchik.
hit you in the face,
All right, I'll
correct?
be right back.
Yes,
And left a black eye, correct?
yes.
And Michelle, could you please pull up PX 162?
Is that already in evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Published to the jury?
Thank you. Mr. Depp, this is the picture that your counsel showed you both in your prior, or showed.
I'm sorry, which number was it?
This is a new exhibit, Your Honor, 1905.
That's defendants?
Defendant's Exhibit 1905.
Okay, thank you.
Ask for permission to publish, Your Honor.
Oh, you want to put it in evidence? Okay, any objection to 1905?
With the comments, we have no objection to the photograph itself. We would ask the comments be redacted as hearsay.
Well, I'd like to at least question the witness about the
I have no
comments.
objection to the photograph being published.
Okay, well, then let's wait a minute. Mr. Depp, you see here, these are 4 pictures of you, right?
Yes,
Yeah, and below it, they indicate that they were taken on July 24th, 2015 in Bangkok, Thailand, correct?
Objection, lack of foundation, calls for speculation.
Overruled.
in Bangkok, Thailand, so before the train ride.
Correct, before the train ride, because you didn't get on the train ride until the 25th, is that right?
Somewhere in that area, I guess.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd ask for permission to publish this to the jury.
If it's just the photographs, we have no
All
objection.
right, if you want to redact the, just have the photographs in it?
Sure. We'll do 1905.
5, just with redaction, should be fine. I think there's still some on the bottom. I'm just,
It's just redact that.
okay.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right, publish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michelle, could you please scroll down to the bottom 2 pictures there? Mr. Depp, in these pictures that were taken before you got on the train ride for your honeymoon, where you claim that Ms. Heard hit you and gave you a black eye, you have the exact same shadow or sunburn or mark under your left eye. The exact same mark, don't you?
That's the, when you get a side light, you see the occipital
Mhm.
bone. So that is the exact area.
Yep. And it's actually,
A side light will cause that.
yeah, well,
as
the
well.
picture's not being taken from the side, is it? It's being taken
No,
head
no, no,
on,
no,
isn't it?
no. The lens in front.
Yeah.
The light on the side.
Right.
Will cause that occipital bone, I believe it's called,
Mhm.
to appear sunken. And
Just like lights on the side of a train car, correct?
Objection
Well,
calls for
You can
speculation.
take that down, Michelle.
that was in fact in the dark.
Sus-
I had a chef, I
Sustained.
had people on either side of me, so
You can go
I
ahead for the
don't
next-
see where the light fill is from the side there.
Mr. Depp, you go ahead for the next question. Next question.
Next
Sorry.
question. Even the picture your team chose to show you on that train isn't accurate, is it? Let's pull up.
Objection
exhibit-
calls for
let-
speculation.
Let's pull up exhibit 1859, please.
1859, is that in evidence? or-
No, Your Honor.
18.
Mr. Depp, this is the same picture, or the same, exact same scene displayed in PX 162 that you looked at this morning, correct?
That looks
Like my face has been, the eyes have been photoshopped.
Oh, okay. So this post from the Eastern and Oriental Express's Facebook page, you're saying that that's photoshopped?
Is that from their page? I would, sure, why wouldn't they?
Let's pull them up side by side, please. Your Honor, I move for the admission of this exhibit. We can just have the pictures. We don't need the.
Any objection to the picture?
Objection, lack of foundation, lack of authentication.
Is that you in the photo, Mr. Depp?
It is me, but it's clearly.
Your
it's
Honor,
been-
I'd move to
it's
strike
been-
anything after that, first of all, and would ask for admission of this photograph.
All right, just a photograph?
Yep.
You're gonna-
We maintain our lack of authentication, lack of foundation.
All right, over objection, I'll allow 1859 and F.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michelle, could I please get you to,
You need to redact it first.
yeah, we actually have one that will admit or ask to be admitted as 1858. That is just the picture.
I already have 18.
Okay, so we'll call this 1859 then.
This is 1859.
Yeah, we just need to,
Okay.
we'll fix that exhibit sticker on the bottom and get you that correct 1859.
1859.
And Michelle, what I'd like to ask you to do, please, is to put the picture displayed as 1859, just was admitted into evidence, next to PX 162 that was shown to Mr. Depp this morning.
Okay, you can put those are both in evidence.
Can you try to make them the same size, please? This is the exact same picture, isn't it, Mr. Depp?
With radically different quality. And
No, you answered my question.
I
Permission
didn't know I
to
wasn't done.
You answered my question, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Mr. Depp, you had that, whatever mark it is, whether it's a sunburn, whether it's a shadow, whether it's the light reflecting, you had that same mark on your eye before you got on that train.
Well, it's pretty difficult to get a sunburn on a train. And in
Let's
the
go to-
photographs with the child, I don't look particularly sunburned. Can we see those again?
Let's pull up exhibit one. Actually, no, let's talk about Australia for a little bit.
Oh, good.
You testified that you've never done ecstasy more than a handful of times in your life, correct?
6, 7 times.
Now, you heard Ms. Heard's testimony. You've been sitting here. I know you didn't look at her, but you heard her testimony. And
Oh, I
you heard her. You didn't hear her say you ingested 8 to 10 all at once. She said she came down after being apart from you for some time, and there were 8 to 10 gone from the bag. Correct?
Objection, form, compound.
Oh, overruled.
I also heard Ms. Hurd say I reached into a bag and poured a bunch of
Yep.
MDMA down my mouth.
Correct. That's right. She didn't say you poured
Handfuls.
10 at one time, did she?
No, she said a handful.
Okay.
Which is more than 10, I believe.
Okay, the fact is, Mr. Depp, you were asking for ecstasy. You who have only done it 6 times in your life, you were asking for ecstasy and cocaine within minutes of being admitted to the hospital after suffering your finger injury, weren't you?
Objection, compound.
I don't recall that I was
Overruled.
Let's pull
begging
up,
for any drugs.
yeah, let's pull up plaintiff's or exhibit 393, please. You just said you don't recall you were begging for any drugs?
No, I don't, but I do
Okay.
recall being in great pain and great distress, so
Okay,
I could have asked for a teddy bear as well.
okay. So this has been admitted, Your Honor.
This is in evidence, okay? Publish.
And if you can blow up the text, please, Michelle.
Okay. I can't remember exactly when these texts come up, okay? But I'm telling y'all right now, way ahead of time, that I believe after they get done with this specific topic about the MDMA, I think they go into a little bit more of the situation in Australia at the, the bar area. And then there's more texts. And I'm telling you guys, this is your official warning. It can be very triggering to some. It was not triggering to me, but of course, I have no feelings. So there you go. All right, here we go.
In this text message, Mr. Depp, after you suffered your finger injury, you just testified you don't recall asking for any drugs. You're texting Nathan Holmes, your personal assistant, need more whitey stuff, ASAP, brother man, and the e-business. Now, we went over this in your cross-examination, didn't we?
Hey, dissociative state. You're
If you say
back.
so, sir.
So glad to
And
see you
whitey stuff is
again.
cocaine,
I would say.
and the e-business is ecstasy. You already
Yeah,
said
quite
so.
likely, yes.
Okay.
So I
Take that.
didn't recall that,
Thank you.
but
Can you pull up exhibit 1817, please? This is a picture that you were shown this
Show.
morning, Mr. Depp.
yes.
And you kind of made some illustrations on the picture and gave your account of what you see here. Mr. Depp, you testified previously that the vodka bottle that you allege cut off your finger was a handle of vodka, correct?
Yes,
You've already testified to that,
second
right?
bottle, there was a handle on it, bottle,
Right.
yes.
This bottle, whatever it is, to the extent it's glass at all, that's in the
Okay. I want you guys to pay attention to this exchange because I think in this situation, the reason for contention is a miscommunication. Because don't they call, like, there's the fifth and then there's the biggest size, and they call that a handle of whatever, like, for example, vodka, right? But Johnny Depp is talking about a literal handle. So, just pay attention and let me know if you guys get that same, if you feel the same way. Okay, here we go.
corner of this room. That's not a handle of vodka.
Objection calls for speculation.
I think you'll find that I said 2 bottles.
Well, actually, what you testified to this morning, Mr. Depp, was that the bottle in the corner was the handle, and there is no other bottle in the picture, is there?
No, that's not what I testified. I testified that, may I touch the screen?
Yes.
This is glass. This is glass.
And that's not a handle. Neither of those are handles of vodka.
It's that big, it's broken. The handles of the top on those vodka bottles, sir. I mean,
And none, if you combine all that glass on the floor, that doesn't make up the amount of glass in a handle of vodka, does it?
Objection calls for speculation.
I'm not a,
When there's objection, hold on. I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
There is no picture of a handle of vodka broken on that floor, is there, Mr. Depp?
no, I don't see it. I see glass under this chair here.
Okay. Well, you testified this morning that you did see it, so it's good to get that clarification. Let's move
No, I
on.
didn't say I saw a handle.
You also testified this morning that yeah, and I want to get this, I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. You
I don't think we
testified
will.
earlier this morning that there was no phone in the bar area downstairs. Is that what you testified to?
I don't recall a phone in the bar area.
Okay,
I don't recall a Bakelite phone in the bar area where
okay.
no.
Let's pull up, Michelle, please, UK day 3, page 421. Mr. Depp, we've done this drill before. This is your testimony from the UK, correct?
Can I please have,
We don't have copies for everyone. It's on the screen.
Your
right
Honor,
there.
may I please, I would like to have what he's, the testimony of the
Here,
witness.
you can have my copy.
So, Smalls,
Mr.
I
Depp, you
have
remember
not
giving
seen that
testimony
photo.
In the UK trial for several days.
but yes,
correct?
that's what I was just
Okay, so
talking
you-
about as
okay,
the
yeah.
text.
Yep.
So I do remember a telephone in the bar area and this.
Yeah, well,
Bakelite.
This is my turn to do this, Mr. Depp.
I'm sorry.
On page 421, line 19, you were asked a question, and this telephone that you picked up was made of, I'm sorry, I'm going to go up line 15. Question, at one stage when you were in the kitchen screaming at Ms. Heard, you picked up a wall-mounted telephone. Do you remember a telephone in the kitchen? Answer, no, ma'am. I remember a telephone in the bar area. Question, and this telephone that you picked up was made of Bakelite. Do you know what I mean by that? A retro telephone, wall-mounted but retro. Answer, it was a wall-mounted telephone, but it was not Bakelite. It was a modern phone. It was plastic. Question, a phone that was a wall-mounted phone that was picked up, can you scroll down, please?
Smalls, are they going to show it in this, with this
Question,
testimony?
a phone that was a wall-mounted phone that was picked up by you, held in
was
your
this
right hand,
somewhere
and you were
else,
repeatedly
babe?
smashing it against the wall in your right hand. Answer, that is possible. But I do not, if that is the case, I do not believe I spent very much time on the phone.
Okay.
I remember ripping the phone off the wall. That was your testimony, correct?
It seemed to be, yes. I,
Answer my question. Thank you. Mr. Depp, you've claimed before, you've said, if I'm angry and I've got to lash out or hit somebody, I'm going to do it. And I don't care what the repercussions are. Anger doesn't pay rent. It's got to go. It's got to be evicted. You've said that before, haven't you?
have you a quote from me somewhere saying that?
It's my question to you. You've said that before, haven't you? Well, actually, let's refresh your recollection. Can you pull up
Be great.
the Ghost of the Machine article, please?
Possibly about paparazzis.
Mr. Depp, you see that picture of you on the lower left,
Yes.
usually shirtless and wearing a crown, I believe. But you see the long paragraph above that starts with "in the Mark Hotel."
Ah, yes,
You see
yes,
that?
yes. I
At the
did.
bottom of that, does this refresh your recollection that you said, "I have a lot of love inside me and a lot of anger inside me as well. If I love somebody, then I'm going to love them. If I'm angry and I've got to lash out or hit somebody, I'm going to do it. And I don't care what the repercussions are. Anger doesn't pay rent. It's got to go. It's got to be evicted. Did I read that right?
Okay,
read that
okay,
right, yeah.
Smalls. I'll look, let me see if I can find it. Thanks, babe.
Now, Mr. Depp, you've also claimed that you've said before that if you want to be with a woman sexually, that she is rightfully yours.
Okay, it's coming up right here.
Could you repeat that?
And you've also said that with
Could you
respect-
repeat that, please?
Yeah, that if you want to be with a woman sexually, that she is rightfully yours.
That's ludicrous.
You've also said that with respect to women that you want to be with, you've remarked, I need, I want, I take, haven't you?
Equally as ludicrous, no.
Can you pull up DX 883, please?
All right, hold on.
You can pull it what you like. I've never said those words. There's not enough hubris in me to say anything like that.
883?
883, Your Honor.
It's not,
DX
is it
It
empty?
is not admitted yet.
Okay, 883.
Mr. Depp, these are text messages from you to Stephen Duders on February 22nd, 2017, correct?
This looks nothing like me. You might have mistaken,
Mr. Depp, we can show the full unredacted. You've looked at a number of text messages in this case, and the words him as the identifier, that's you, correct? In every text message we've seen in this case.
yeah, sure. It still doesn't mean it hasn't been screwed with. That's not anything that I've ever said or written.
You want to see the whole thing unredacted? We can look at that too.
No, because you could have typed it up last night. No.
I can assure you I didn't type it up last night, Mr. Depp. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Exhibit 883.
All right, any objection?
Objection on relevance grounds, Your Honor.
All right, well, do you want to approach for a moment? Let's take a look.
Give me just this, hold on.
All right, 883, and evidence as redacted.
Thank you. Mr. Depp, you're aware that these are text messages. You can see the bottom right where it says Depp and then it has a number, 8129. Those are produced by you in this litigation. You understand that, right?
I understand that's
Okay.
right.
All right, Michelle, could you please, let's take a look at the top text first. Mr. Depp, on February 22nd, 2017, you texted Mr. Duders, right, exactly. Molly's pussy is rightfully mine. Should I not just bust in and remove its hinges tonight? Did I read that right?
Yeah, you did. Okay, hold on
You're
a
really
second.
right.
And
Let
the one
me
beneath that,
go back 5
You say,
seconds.
I want to
You're-
in and remove its Molly's pussy is rightfully. You texted Mr. Duders, right, exactly.
All right, I've got it paused. What I would suggest everybody do right now is turn the chat off, make the picture bigger on your screen, or go, or if you're watching on TV, you don't have to do that. But this is my thing. Okay. This is what was written, and it does say direction incoming. Okay. They're going to get into this, and I just want to hear a tiny bit more before I talk about it, because I have an idea in my brain, but I want to hear the testimony. Okay, here we go.
Molly's pussy is rightfully mine. Should I not just bust in and remove its hinges tonight? Did I read that right?
You read it right.
And the one beneath that, you say, I want to change her understanding of what it is like to be thrashed about like a pleading mackerel. And then in all caps, you write, I need, I want, I take. Is that right?
You read it right. But I did not write that. Perhaps someone
You
else
wrote
had
every
my
other
phone.
text that you produced that came from you in this litigation, didn't you?
Not necessarily. Sometimes you give your phone to people and they
Now,
text
when you
from
got
it.
off that plane
Excuse me?
from Boston,
I'm sorry?
When you got off the plane from Boston, you knew Miss Heard was angry with you, didn't you?
It was pretty much a given.
Objection calls for speculation.
And you understood her to be angry, right?
She was always angry, yes.
And you asked Mr. Duders, same person, you can take this down, Michelle, please, thank you. Same person that you texted in that last exhibit, you asked Mr. Duders to communicate with her on your behalf, correct?
I don't know what you're talking about. You'll have to explain.
You asked Mr. Duders to communicate with Miss Heard by text to speak to her about the incident, correct?
About what incident?
To speak to her about the plane flight,
The plane?
the Boston plane.
The Boston plane. So you're saying that I influenced Mr. Duders. I told him that he had to write this, and I had told him that he had to write that. Is that what you're saying?
No, it wasn't uncommon for Mr. Duders to communicate with Miss Heard on your behalf, correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
He was your personal assistant. Mr. Duders was your personal assistant.
Hold on, I'm
correct?
going
I
to
had two
pause this
personal
really quick.
assistants,
Right.
at the time.
Jen, it has been stated previously in trial that there was a group chat with more than one phone number of Johnny Depp's. This is what I read, but I have missed parts of the trial. Okay, but here's the thing. Hi Carla, long time no see, babe. This is my question. Okay. I wanted to hear Rottenborn's exact phrasing of the question. And the thing of it is this. So Rottenborn says, this is a text that you sent to Stephen Duders. And then Johnny Depp says, I didn't write that. Somebody else might have written that. And Rottenborn comes back with, you've authored every other text that you've turned over in this litigation, correct? This is why I wanted to pay particular attention to that specific exchange right there. So the only way, there's two ways that could be incoming. Okay. One is they pulled it off of Johnny Depp's phone. These are things that he turned over from his phone, right? And that shows an incoming text. The other way that could be incoming is if they pulled it off of Stephen Duders' phone, and then that would show it as incoming from Johnny Depp. Does that make sense? That's why it would show it incoming. The reason I wanted to hear that exchange is because what's that thing I do? That's what I need to do. Anyway, the reason I wanted to hear the exchange and I wanted to hear the specific language that was used is because what Rottenborn is saying in that exchange is that these texts came from Johnny Depp's phone. These are texts that were turned over by Johnny Depp in this litigation. They are not from Stephen Duders' phone. So that rules out the second how it could say incoming. Are we following me? Am I making sense? Let me fix this chair. Hold on. All right. I know that you guys are a little delayed in the chat when I look at StreamYard, so let me look at the phone. When you say, right, he didn't turn them over, Heather, whatever, are you talking about Stephen Duder didn't turn them during his texts over, or Johnny Depp? Because I don't know who he is. Because see, I'm thinking that the only way that that exchange that Rottenborn made makes sense is that those texts he's alleging came from Johnny Depp's phone, right? Which if they pulled text from the phones, anybody's phone, everybody's phone in this case, right? If they pulled this exchange from Johnny Depp's phone, if he were the author of these texts, it would read outgoing because he would have sent it to Stephen Duder. If they pulled them off of, well, he said, well, I don't know if they were seized or not. I can only tell you what Rottenborn just said. And that's what I'm going by because that's what the jury is going to hear. They're going to hear that they were turned over. But regardless, whether they were turned over or whether they were seized, accidentally on purpose doesn't even matter. It only matters where the seizure came from. So were they seized from Johnny Depp's phone or were they seized from Stephen Duder's phone? Because if they were seized from Stephen Duder's phone or turned over or whatever, right, from his phone, then it would say incoming because it would have been an incoming text from Johnny Depp. But if they were seized from, it's very confusing, Smalls. Let's just keep listening and maybe I'll figure it out because I feel like I'm talking too much.
Time.
He was one of them, right?
Yeah, Mr. Duders was one of them, yes, sir.
Right. And it wasn't uncommon for you to ask Mr. Duders to communicate with Ms. Heard on your behalf, correct?
It wasn't uncommon for any of them to communicate with Ms. Heard on my behalf if I were on set or unavailable or any of that.
Or if Ms. Heard and you had a fight, you would sometimes have them to communicate with Ms. Heard on your behalf, correct?
I think my crew caught on very quickly that
Just a yes or
it
no.
would be necessary for them to.
No, just a yes or no. It was not uncommon after
Objection,
you and Ms.
Your
Heard
Honor.
had
I'd ask that he be allowed to finish his
a yes or
answer.
no question, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Your Honor. It wasn't uncommon for you to have one of your personal assistants communicate with Ms. Heard after you and her had a fight.
I disagree because you're insinuating that I had them do it and you don't know that.
After the Boston plane flight, you had Mr. Duders communicate with Ms. Heard, correct?
When I'm asked what to do, I said placate or just placate her like we always do.
And you told him
Placate her like
whatever
we
message you
always
need to
do.
send to
I'm
placate,
sorry, he's
correct?
sorry, he feels bad, yes, because any other answer, it would turn into World War III.
Okay, can you pull up Exhibit 229, please?
This one's bad too. Brace yourselves.
Your Honor, I think you know where I'm going here, and based on Mr. Depp's testimony, I'd ask him for the admission of Exhibit 229.
Your Honor, can we please approach?
Sure.
When y'all approach, I'm going to speed it up.
Mr. Depp, you were pretty angry after Ms. Heard got her temporary restraining order, weren't you?
Angry. I was, more than anything, I was hurt.
And you testified earlier this morning, you claimed that you somehow were responsible.
Okay, but this is what I'm asking. How do we know that Johnny Depp didn't send them? Have we conclusively decided that all of the texts that were looked at, let me put it a better way. Have we concluded that all of the electronic communication that was turned over, by whatever means it was turned over, came from Johnny Depp's devices? That's what I'm asking, because that makes a difference. If any of them came from somebody else's device, then the exchange would read incoming. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to figure out. If we have conclusively decided or know for sure, what, if any, there we go, Shmita. What, if any, conclusion have we come to? What, if any, have we decided that all of the communication that's been presented in this case has been from two sources, electronic devices, Johnny Depp's and Amber Heard's? Those are the only people that turned over electronic communication. Is that what we're saying? Because that makes a difference. All right, but I'm going to keep playing while we figure this out.
For her getting a role with Warner Brothers, correct? That's what you testified to this morning. You also tried to get her fired from Aquaman, didn't you? After the temporary restraining order.
Which question would you like me to handle first, sir?
One question, sir. You tried to get her fired from the Aquaman after the temporary restraining order, didn't you?
Well, what is related to the story about me?
It just yes, no, Mr. Depp. I don't. I
So
didn't
that
ask
doesn't
what
come
related.
down to
What
yes or
story
no at all
related to?
times. I can't please you with a yes or a no every single time.
It's a yes or no question, Mr. Depp. You tried to get Ms. Heard fired, didn't you?
Answer's no.
All right, let's pull up Exhibit 821.
Is that
Mr.
me
Depp,
trying to
is
get her
this-
fired?
This this is a text message that you had with your sister, Christy Dombrowski. She was the first witness in this case, right?
She doesn't work at Warner Brothers.
She-
She can't fire Amber.
Yeah. This is a text message you had with her on June 4th, 2016, isn't it?
June 12th, yes.
Your Honor, move for the admission of Exhibit 821 as redacted.
Any objection?
We would object on relevance grounds, Your Honor.
I'll overrule that objection, 821 in evidence.
And on June 4th, 2016, Mr. Depp, you texted your sister, I want her replaced on that W film. Did I read that right?
You did.
Her is referring to Amber, right?
That's correct.
And WB is Warner Brothers, correct?
Again, correct.
And then after you sent this text to your sister, following the temporary restraining order, you reached out to Guy Silverstein to have him fire Amber, correct?
Who?
Greg Silverstein, I'm sorry.
I don't recall reaching out to Greg Silverstein.
You reached out to Sue Crawl to get her to
Particularly.
fire Ms. Hurd, right?
I had vetted
Wait,
Ms.
wait.
Hurd, and
Mr.
I had vetted Ms. Hurd.
Depp, you got your chance to
Warner
speak this morning.
Brothers
Your Honor,
Warner
has-
Brothers had two
Mr.
franchises.
Depp, if you could just answer the question, sir. Next question.
You reached out to Greg Silverstein to get him to try to get Amber fired from Aquaman, didn't you?
I
Asked and
reached,
answered.
Excuse me.
Asked and answered.
It's a yes or no question that he hasn't answered. Yes or
All
no?
right.
Yes or no, sir? You reached out to Greg Silverstein to try to get Amber fired from Aquaman.
second half of your question is wrong, sir.
You reached out
I
to
to
Sue
them
Crawl.
because I vetted her.
No, Mr. Depp. You reached out to Sue Crawl to get her to try to get her to help you get Amber fired from Aquaman, didn't you?
No,
And you reached out to Kevin Sujihara to try to get him to help you get Amber fired from Aquaman, didn't you?
no.
Can you pull up Exhibit 857, please?
Yeah, pull up 857. Because if all of your allegations hang on a text he sent to his
Mr.
sister,
Depp, this is a text message that you sent to Christian Carino on August 15th, 2016. correct?
again, not
This is all in
somebody
evidence, correct?
that
It's
can
parts of it.
fire
Also not this-
Amber.
Not this
Well,
version.
this can't be 857, then don't.
850, sorry.
Somebody can't do this to me.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Understood. We'll call it 857A.
857.
She's so patient, this judge.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
My
I would have
apologies, Your Honor.
lost my cool ages ago.
Mr. Depp, you sent this text to Christian
I
Carino
lose
on
my cool every
August
night.
15th?
No, sir. They did.
Okay. And in this text that you sent to Christian Carino is the person who used to be Amber's agent and then was your agent for a time, correct?
That is correct.
And in this text, Your Honor, permission to publish, please.
Do you want to put in evidence
Yeah,
first?
move for admission of
Any
857A.
objection?
Objection.
All right, 857A. As redacted.
Shrita, come over and paint my bedroom. I need a new color.
And in this text, Mr. Depp, you said, she's begging for total global humiliation. She's going to get it.
Trigger warning.
I'm going to need your text about San Francisco, brother. I'm even sorry to ask, but she sucked Mollusk's crooked dick and he gave her some shitty lawyers.
That's
I have
Elon Musk.
No mercy, no fear, and not an ounce of emotion, or what I once thought was love for this gold-digging, low-level, dime a dozen, mushy, pointless, dangling, overused, flappy fish market. I'm so fucking happy she wants to go to fight this out. She will hit the wall hard, and I cannot wait to have this waste of a cum guzzler out of my life. I met a fucking sublime little Russian here, which made me realize the time I blew
Oh
on
my
that 50-cent
God.
stripper. I wouldn't touch her with a goddamn glove. I can only hope that karma kicks in and takes the gift of breath from her. Sorry, man, but now I will stop at nothing. Let's see if Mollusk has a pair. Come see me face to face. I'll show him things he's never seen before, like the other side of his dick when I
I know,
slice it off.
Shmita. I was watching this
Did I
when it
read that right?
happened. I
You
was
did?
listening. I remember. Thank you, babe.
Now, not long after this,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
not long after this,
No, no,
you
no,
met Mr.
no,
Waldman
no,
in the
no.
late summer.
No. Not long after this. We're not even going to entertain that. First of all, let me start here. They read this. There is a portion of the earlier text that they read on cross-examination before he was a rebuttal witness. Okay. Now, now we've seen the completely unredacted. We've seen it in context. Okay. Second of all, they're attempting, Amber Heard's team is attempting to use this last text and the text before that with to his sister as evidence of Johnny Depp being so angry with Amber Heard for filing the temporary restraining order that he reached out to every person he in his Rolodex, right? Not every person, but this is an attempt to get her fired. That's how he started this out. That's how Rottenborn started this out, this line of questioning. Okay. Now, last I checked, the person who actually would and could fire Amber Heard testified Tuesday. And his name isn't in these texts. He wasn't a contact. He wasn't CC'd. He wasn't included in a group chat, whether it was text messaging group chatting or a Facebook Messenger group chat or an Instagram Messenger group chat or a WhatsApp group chat. None of that. Okay. That's my first issue with these texts being allowed to be shown. These last two. Now, this third one, or the second one, excuse me, that he's showing right now that we're all discussing and just like, oh my God. Okay. It's a highly, highly inflammatory text. Okay. The truth of the matter is people vent. Now, unless Rottenborn and company have a text or an email or a Hogwarts owl or a smoke signal, some evidence of Johnny Depp reaching out to a person who was actually in the position to fire Amber Heard, I'm going to call this for exactly what it is. Okay. It was done intentionally. It is to elicit an emotional response from the jury. It is nothing more than emotional manipulation. Are the words that are written in that text harsh? Yeah, they are. If my husband had written a text like that or an email like that about me and it was read out loud in front of God and everybody, would I feel some type of way? I sure would. But I can promise you that if he had a text like that, I probably had 50 texts like that written about him. It's hurtful to hear, but it doesn't I moved past the emotional part. Put that out of your mind. What does that text show or email, whatever it was, right? Nothing. It does not show what Mr. Rottenborn is attempting to prove here, which is that Johnny Depp reached out to attempt to have Amber Heard fired. We don't even know what happened in San Francisco. This could be Johnny Depp's way of combating, what we're combating right now, domestic violence allegations. Perhaps he has some evidence of something that occurred in San Francisco, and that's why he's reaching out to his former, I don't know if he's still his manager, was his manager at the time, whatever, and asking about San Francisco. That's all I have to say about that. Let's continue.
Or fall 2016, correct?
I believe, yeah, September, October, somewhere in there, whatever.
And he's been your attorney since then, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you met with him with the Daily Mail in London in February 2020, didn't you?
I'm sorry, again?
You and Mr. Waldman together met with the Daily Mail in London in February.
Okay, I want to answer Small's question, but I can't highlight it because, well, maybe I can't. Fuck it. I mean, here's the deal. They did. So not these last two exchanges, but the one prior to that, they did show part of that. It was highly edited, and they did show it. And they did ask him about it. But again, the reasoning behind this third text being shown is because Rottenborn claims that Mr. Depp opened the door, which I don't know what door he opened, but whatever. Let's just keep going because this part annoys I can't stand emotional manipulation. Here we go.
February 2020, didn't you?
Are you asking me a question about my attorney and I?
Yeah, that you two met with people from the Daily Mail in London in February 2020.
Was that during the London trial?
No,
No,
no, in February.
I don't recall it though.
Okay.
I don't.
To the extent Mr. Waldman testified that you did, you don't dispute that, correct?
I just don't. I don't recall it. Okay.
You don't disagree with Mr. Waldman's testimony that you and he met with people from the Daily Mail in London in February 2020, correct?
If that's Mr. Waldman's testimony, then.
Okay.
But I just didn't necessarily know who these people were.
Right.
I guess.
The same month that the Daily Mail released alleged tapes between you and Amber.
Objection
Correct.
calls for speculation, lack of
Alleged-
personal knowledge.
alleged
I'll
tapes.
sustain. I'll
So
sustain
you've
the next
moved
question.
complete. Okay,
Now,
I can't with
Mr.
this.
You testified, and I wrote it down before lunch. You said, when Ms. Myers asked you something about, how does it feel to make you, or how does it feel to be here? You said, I've been living with it for 6 years and waiting to be able to get the truth out. Remember saying that?
Yes.
You also said, I've spoken up for what I've been carrying on my back. Something to that effect. You remember saying
And
that?
let me just point out what
Yes.
what
And you
Schmida
claimed
said.
several
The
times
Ward
in
girls
this
would never
proceeding,
read
Mr.
those
Depp, that this
texts
trial
anywhere
is your
ever.
first chance to tell your story, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
But that's just not true, is it, Mr. Depp?
Huh?
That's not true.
That's, no, for me, it is true.
Okay, well, here's the thing. The fact is, Mr. Depp, when Dan Wooten wrote an article that was published in The Sun calling you a wife beater,
Mhm.
you brought a lawsuit against The Sun in June of 2018, correct?
Yes, I probably
And that was 6 months before Ms. Heard ever wrote her op-ed, correct?
I don't know.
And in the summer of 2020, there was a several-week trial in London against The Sun, correct?
Ms. Hood was not a party to that trial. Was she?
Not my question, Mr. Depp. In the article that The Sun wrote that you sued over, you sued for Mr. Wooten calling you a wife beater, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustain. Next question.
And in the trial that you subsequently brought, you called a lot of witnesses, right?
I don't know what a lot is. I don't know.
Many people testified on both sides of the trial, correct?
Yes, many people.
And many exhibits were introduced, correct?
Like a trial, yes.
And you, just like in this trial, you were on the stand for several days in that trial, correct?
Yes, sir, I was.
And that trial involved the same factual issues that you are litigating here, which is whether you
Objection
committed
calls
domestic
for
abuse
illegal-
against Amber Heard.
Sustain the objection. Next question.
You brought that case against The Sun because you were angry at The Sun for calling you a wife beater, correct?
Because it wasn't true. That's what
Yeah,
defamation
that's
means.
And
probably a pretty good reason.
And you went through that trial in London, correct?
I did indeed, yes.
Mr. Depp, you've already had a chance to tell your story, haven't you?
No, there
Objection
were
asked and
great
answered.
limitations in the UK trial.
Okay,
All right.
I want to talk
redirect.
about
Thank
this
you.
real quick. Okay. This is a bone of contention, and this is why Johnny Depp said what he said. Okay. So unlike the United States, they do things obviously different in the UK. All right. So here in the United States, the way that our legal system works is that when Johnny Depp is on the stand, he is first questioned by his attorney, and then he is questioned by the other side's attorney, in this case, Amber Heard's. Okay. During the UK trial, Johnny Depp was not asked any questions by his attorneys. He was only, and that's just how they work. Not just Johnny, that's how the whole trial over in the UK worked. You don't get, the plaintiff doesn't get asked questions by their own attorneys. They're only asked questions by the opposing side's attorneys. So it was essentially nothing but a cross-examination the whole entire time. So the whole trial. So when that happens, that you wouldn't feel like you got to tell your story because you don't get to do direct testimony, right? Where your team is questioning you. That's the difference. All right. That's all I wanted to say. Now I'm going to push play.
Mr. Depp, Mr. Rottenborn asked you some questions about the UK trial. Why do you feel that this is the first time that you've actually had an opportunity to tell your story and, as you said, get the load off your back?
Not get off,
as
Miss
the UK
Myers.
trial was me suing Dan Wooten and the Sun for defamation for calling me a wife beater. The UK have different, well, there are different laws, there are different ways they handle things. There are also limitations in evidence. Some things can be brought up, some things cannot be
Your Honor,
brought up.
he's
And
saying calls
Mr.
for legal
Rottenborn.
conclusion. He's talking about limitations in evidence in English.
Your Honor, he's talking about his experience testifying.
Overruled.
Okay, I'm going to leave Johnny Depp here just because there's not a lot more to this that we're going to learn, but there are other witnesses that I really want us to get to tonight, because they are, not that Johnny Depp's isn't important, but I wanted to get through the texting part. And I'm not making, I want to be clear too, I'm not making excuses for Johnny Depp, okay? But there's a big difference, right, between writing a hateful text and sending it to your friend, your agent, right, than writing a hateful text and sending it to the person the text is about. Meaning, he sent the text to his agent. He didn't send that text to Amber Heard. And whatever, I just feel like it's such an emotional, unnecessary, it's just emotional manipulation, and it proved nothing. It didn't go to the heart of the question, which was, did you try to get Amber Heard fired? Here, let me pull up this text that directly refutes what you just said on the stand. It didn't prove anything. It proved that Johnny Depp wrote a nasty text. Okay. Ridiculous. Shouldn't have even been allowed. Hold on, I want to hear this. I want you guys to hear this. All right. So then there was the ex TMZ. Right. Copa. What am I don't, hold on a second. Am I reading that right? Yes, Copacabana. You can't be perfect, but the bottom line is it didn't show what they said it was going to show. It didn't show, it didn't prove that Johnny Depp attempted to have Amber Heard fired. It proved nothing other than he's the author of a nasty, vile text. That's it. What the frack? Hold on. What's happening here? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to add it. Hold on. So then, exactly, Copacabana, all of these things. It was venting. And people are going to have whatever opinion they have about the content. Thank you, AJ. What about the content of the text, right? Fine, have your opinion. But at the end of the day, remember why we're here. We're here because the question was, did you try to get Amber Heard fired? And that text did not prove that he tried to get Amber Heard fired. That's all I have to say about that. Let's move on to the TMZ, the ex-TMZ employee who's going to testify. And I'm going to tell you what he's going to testify about. I'm just going to put it on for y'all to listen. All right, hold on. I have to make this away and then push play. All right. Ready and go.
16.
Hold on.
Were you involved in any other?
We did.
After August 6, 2016, were you involved in any other stories involving Ms.
I'll
Heard?
be right back.
Yes, I was.
Shmita's in charge.
And what story was that?
On the 12th, we received a video depicting Johnny Depp slamming some cabinets that was captured by Ms. Heard.
And what day was that?
I believe that was the August 12th
Of 2016?
of 2016, yes.
Can you describe to the jury how you received the video on August 12th, 2016?
Yes, the video was sent in through our email tip line, which is an email distribution that goes to all the producers and to myself as the field assignment manager because it often included celebrity locations. It came in as I recall,
Objection, hearsay.
He's just describing how it came in.
I think he's about to reveal hearsay, Your Honor.
I'll overrule for now. We'll see where it goes. Okay.
Please continue.
So I received that email and it included a link from some unknown Dropbox type public website in which it contained that
Objection, Your
video.
Honor, hearsay. He's about to describe what comes from the Dropbox website, and that's.
So far, he just said was a link from a Dropbox. We'll see the next question. Go ahead, next question.
So you received a link. What was in that link?
In that link was the video of Johnny Depp smashing the cabinets.
And you received this video in your inbox, correct?
I did.
What did you do once you received that video?
We downloaded it. We alerted the web editor who was sitting next to me at the time. We downloaded it and then were instructed by the news producer to do what we call slap bumpers and a bug on it, which is putting the dun 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 at the beginning end, and then putting a translucent watermark over it, which indicates copyright ownership.
After you did that, was it posted?
It was posted, yes.
Where was it posted?
It was posted to tmz.com.
Did you do anything else related to Amber Heard on August 12th, 2016?
Yes, I received a tip that Amber Heard would be arriving at LAX, and so I dispatched camera people to film that exit, or her arrival to LAX, rather.
And why did you do that?
I was instructed to.
How long does it take to post a story after media's been received by TMZ?
After media's been received, it could take any length of time depending on who owns the copyright.
How does TMZ obtain copyright over images and videos?
The only way to obtain copyright over media would be if we shot it ourselves, if it was sent to the tip line, source verified that it was from the original copyright owner, and then either purchased from that person or given to us. And then the third option would be if it was directly given to us by the copyright holder, like a direct source.
And how long does it take to copyright something TMZ has received through the tip line?
It can take a while because you have to extensively verify that that person owns the copyright. And then possibly, it depends also if you can even get in contact with the person because they might not be super responsive immediately via phone or email that they provided. And then potentially you'd have to enter a negotiation with our clips and clearances department to figure out the cost of that media.
How long does it take for TMZ to obtain a copyright over something received directly from a source?
Something in the realm of 15 minutes just to do what I described before, which is putting bumpers and a bug on something and write the article and post it. It's pretty fast.
How much time had passed from the time you received the kitchen cabinet video to the time it was posted on TMZ?
About 15 minutes.
Did any other tabloids other than TMZ post this video?
Objection, leading and cause for hearsay.
Did any other tabloids?
Overrule.
Mr. Tremaine, go ahead.
No, they did not.
And why not?
Because it was a TMZ exclusive.
And what does that mean?
It means the TMZ owns the copyright to it. So it can't be distributed by any other media source without backlinking to TMZ, and they wouldn't be able to upload that media without getting a copyright strike.
Have you seen the kitchen cabinet video that was played in this trial?
I have, yes.
How does that video that was played in this trial compare to the one you received on August 12, 2016?
When I had clicked the direct link that we received and watched the video in its entirety, it was much shorter than the video we had received, than the video that's been played in this trial. There was a bit at the beginning that was played here in which Ms. Heard is seemingly sort of sitting at the camera and getting into position. And then there's a bit at the end where she's seemingly sniggering and looks at the camera. That part was not present in what we received.
Did TMZ edit the video?
No, not even a little. When we receive something and it's edited, there's a clear indicator because there's sort of a journalistic practice that uses when there's an edit, you do what's called like a white flash transition, which covers the entire screen with white to very clearly indicate to everybody there was an edit here for time or whatever, just to make it a little more compelling. But in this case, it was not edited as I was staring at the machine that edited it and present for the entirety of receipt to publishing.
When was the next time you worked on an assignment related to Amber Heard?
It was, well, there was the time where we went to the airport. And then the day after that, because she had flown in for the deposition, because I think the first time didn't work out. So she was arriving again for the deposition in that same parking lot adjacent to a law office.
And what's that, August 13th, 2016?
That was August 13th, yeah.
And what was your assignment on August 13th, 2016?
To dispatch camera people to that parking lot at a specific time in order to film Amber Heard arriving for the deposition.
How did you know that tip was legitimate?
It came from a news producer.
While you worked at TMZ, did you ever receive any communications from Mr. Depp or his camp?
I did not.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Yes. So how do you know what
Elaine didn't
video
even
was
wait.
shown at this trial?
Hold on just a second. I gotta pause this real quick.
I was
Okay. First of all, they are now extremely cognizant of the amount of time in which they have left, right? So here Elaine is. She doesn't even wait to get to the podium before she starts asking her question. And the important part for me, well, I'll let this play and then we'll talk about it.
alerted by a friend that that TMZ was being kind of talked about in this trial, and so I had seen a clip of that.
So you watched some of this trial?
Correct.
Okay. When did you first reach out to counsel for Mr. Depp?
I believe that was 6 days ago, whatever that date would be. I'd have to do that.
All right. And then you received a subpoena, I think yesterday, in care of your attorney, Cindy Hickox, right?
Correct.
Okay. And Cindy Hickox represents Christy Dombrowski, Kate James, Robin Baum. and
Objection,
Debbie
Your
Lloyd.
Honor.
Were you aware of
Calls for
that?
speculation.
Overruled.
Were you aware of that?
No.
Now, if you don't have information that's helpful to this case, then you were aware that Mr. Depp's attorneys were well aware of the TRO that was going to be presented on May
How would he
27th?
know what Depp's
Objection, calls for
attorneys know?
speculation.
Were you aware
Come
of
on,
that?
Elaine.
Lack of foundation.
Overruled if you can answer it.
Can you restate the question?
Were
I
you
understand.
aware that Mr. Depp's divorce attorneys were aware that Amber Heard was going in to seek a TRO on May 27th?
I don't think I understand the question. I don't think so, no.
Okay.
It's
Do
kind of a
you
complicated
know whether Blair Burke, one of Mr. Depp's divorce attorneys, had a very close relationship with TMZ at that time?
Objection, calls for speculation.
Overruled. If he knows.
I was not aware of that.
Okay. And when you said that you were dispatched twice, once to film Amber in a parking lot for the deposition, and then it didn't work out, and so you had to do it another time, how did you know it didn't work out?
Because TMZ.com posted an article saying as much.
Okay.
And
Do you
I was
know-
not dispatched.
Do you
I
know
worked in the office.
why the deposition did not work out?
I'd have to reference the article, I forget.
So do you know?
I didn't write that story. I wasn't involved in the
Do
actual
you know
journalism of that.
which side? Do you know which side
He
would
just
have
said he
known or
wasn't
not known
involved.
whether that deposition was going to work out? In other words, the people representing Mr. Depp or the people representing Ms. Heard?
I wouldn't know.
Okay. And then the video clip. You don't know who provided that, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Not testifying to
I
that.
have no further.
All right, redirect.
Get it, Camille, sorry.
Mr. Tremaine, why did you contact me in relation to this case?
I saw that there was a discrepancy with like the video that was shown here and the video that I know I had received. So I had no interest in testifying. I had reached out simply to maybe try to help with the timeline of things or help with the case in any way, just by virtue of understanding the timeline of the stories that were published and kind of how that can be unclear. But I had no idea I'd be on the stand.
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right, sir, you're free to go.
Thank
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
You have another witness.
So hold on just a second. Okay. So that to me, I don't know why I just closed that tab like a big dummy. That to me was extremely interesting for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, the fact that the video that was sent to TMZ was edited. And if I'm remembering correctly, the part that was edited is the beginning of the video where you can see Amber Heard setting it up, and the end of the video with Amber Heard, there's laughter, I believe is what the testimony is. And he is 100% correct when he says that TMZ is a very litigious company. But more to the point, I think, was the fact that he testified to how long it would take TMZ between the receiving of a video like that and the posting of the video like that. And that in this case, it only took about 15 or so minutes. And that is and that could only come from be for one reason, is because the person who sent the link was the original copyright owner. Most interesting to me. Hold on a minute. I forgot what I was doing, what I was looking for. Let's see. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes of the rebuttals. Don't think it's in this, but I just want to double check. So the next witness that was called is the metadata analyst. That might be right too, but I'm pretty sure analyst is more correct. Boy, it takes forever to scroll through this playlist. My goodness. All right. This is not looking good for Amber Heard. I'll tell you that right now. Oh, okay. Let me add it to the stream. Sorry about that, you guys.
Tom, can we pull up Defendant's Exhibit 17? Tom, can we pull up Defendant's Exhibit 178, which has been admitted into evidence?
Who, Amber is, Shamita?
Mr. Neumeister, is this?
I mean, she'd have to
does this
at this
photo appear to
point.
be one that you have analyzed as part of your analysis in this case?
There were many versions of this photo. I would say there were dozens of different versions with different chromatic values, different file sizes, different physical sizes. Some had been through Photos 1 or Photos 3, which are photo editing software programs.
Your Honor, at
Oh,
this
wow,
time, I'd
Shamita.
like to show Mr. Neumeister's demonstrative plaintiff's exhibit 1303.
All right, any other objection?
I would object again, Your Honor, because the photograph in 178 is not in evidence.
All right.
Or, yeah, I mean, the photograph is in evidence. None of the photographs he wishes to show the jury are in evidence.
1303 is in evidence over objection. Not in evidence, I'm sorry, as a demonstrative.
Just as a demonstrative.
I'm sorry.
Could we go to publishing this very please? And Mr. Neumeister, what does demonstrative show about the photos that you analyzed?
Well,
Let me
they
move my
appear to
thingy.
be similar. However, if you look below at the file sizes, one on the left is 712 kilobytes. The one in the middle is 489 kilobytes. And the one on the right is 524 kilobytes. Now, what's unusual about that is these photos will not digitally fingerprint with each other. They won't hash. In other words, forensically, they don't match. But the thing is, you could say, well, it was sent through email, maybe it's a different size. The file sizes, for example, would be possibly, you can select the file size, you send a photo, but there's no way to authenticate any photo that was presented in the way the evidence was collected.
And so what conclusions do you draw from that?
Well, this is just 3 of many of the same type of photos that are all different sizes and have different chromatic, which means color.
Objection, Your Honor. We just had a ruling on this.
All right, sustained objection.
Mr. Newmeister, stick to your opinions that relate specifically to what you analyzed about the EXIF data, please.
All 3 of these photos had to go through some type of transformation to change sizes.
We can take that one down. You mentioned photos 1.5 and photos 3.0 earlier, I believe.
Photos.
What is that?
Photos 3 and Photos 1.5 are editing programs that Macintosh or Apple put out with their product. It's for editing photos. In other words, you would put a photo in and you would change the colors, or you would crop it, or you would clarify it by enhancing, for example, the sharpening, or you could darken it. But when you save a photo through an editing program, you leave a mark on the EXIF data.
And what is the EXIF data?
The EXIF data is the data that is embedded in a photograph that tells you a lot about the photograph. And again, in the early days when we were using film cameras, you would write down the f-stop, which is the light setting. You would write the type of lens you use, the time of day, the type of film stock, the type of filters you're using. Now with digital cameras, that's done electronically, and there's about 1,000 lines of code, of which 50 are probably important, that tell you what the camera was doing.
So what's the significance of EXIF data in your photo analysis?
Well, in this situation, I can see that normally where the operating system of the camera would be, which means the version that the operating system the phone is running on, it would normally say something like, I'll just throw out an arbitrary number, 9.1.3 operating system for iOS, which is Apple's iPhone operating system. Instead of saying that, it says software, Photos 3.0 or Photos 1.0. That means that the photo had to be rendered, which means composited together in an editing program.
Did you prepare a demonstrative that shows some of your analysis of some of the EXIF data of the photos in this case?
Yes, I did.
Okay, can we pull up 1304, please? Your Honor, may I approach? You okay? Permission to publish as a demonstrative, Your Honor.
Any objection? Any objection, Mr.
I'm sorry, Your
Murphy?
Honor. My
It was just to
co-counsel's talking.
publish
I'm
it
so sorry.
as a demonstrative.
Okay, so I was just looking through my photos. So I have an Android, and when I take a picture on my phone, my system saves it to it saves it to 2 different places. It saves it to Google Photos, and then obviously it saves it to the camera. Okay, so I wanted to do a little comparison, and I can't show you guys. I have to find better pictures that don't dox me. All right, so there's a picture that I looked at that I took with not this phone, but the phone I had before. Okay, and when I pushed details, y'all, that thing had a whole GPS map on it, showing where exactly I took that picture, which was in my home. Okay, and then I looked at a picture that I saved of my granddaughter from Facebook, and in the details, guess what? It says exactly when I saved it and where I saved it from. Its original destination was Facebook. So I have sent myself a ton of pictures over the course of putting together videos and stuff. Um, from like I'll look something up on Google or screenshots, stuff like that. And I have sent them to myself in Facebook Messenger after, in order to crop them. Sometimes it's easier to do it that way. So I'm really going to dig into this because now I'm really curious about how the information looks on the various phones. Okay, that's all I want to tell you. Okay, bye.
No objections to demonstrative.
All right, thank you. We'll publish it as 1304, just as a demonstrative.
So let me just say to y'all,
And Mr.
your phone
Neumeister, are
be
these the
snitching
images
on
in this
you.
demonstrative excerpts from the report you prepared in this case?
Yes, they are.
And what do they show?
On this particular photo and on all of them, it shows the first few lines of EXIF data, the ones that would be most important for this photograph. So,
Good, I
for
don't feel
example,
so
things you would see, the very top line
right
would
crazy
be
for
the
doing
make
that.
of phone. It's an Apple iPhone 6. And then the resolution is 72 pixels per inch, 72:1. And instead, where it says software on a normal iPhone photo, it would, instead of saying photos 3, it would say the software version, for example, 9.3.1. And then you've got the date and the time of the photo below that, which is really easy to change in an EXIF editor. And below that, you have things like the like the flash. You've got the exposure type, how long the exposure was. So what you just highlighted there again was the date and time. So that's universal time code minus whatever area you're in the world.
Anything else you want to show us with this demonstrative?
Yeah, just below that, if you look, there's some things that would say, for example, a directly photographed image. That is not going to be necessarily accurate once it's been through an editor. It will always pretty much say that. So when you're looking at scene type or auto exposure, these are things that really don't matter all that much. What would matter is, for example, if you're taking notes, the focal length would be important. The pattern of metering, things like that to a photographer would be important. And again, this is just a few lines, and the reason I put these in there was just to explain a bit what EXIF data is. The actual thing I'm trying to point out is the fact that instead of an operating system, it shows the editing program that was used on this photo.
Are there additional photos that you did this analysis for?
Yes, many.
Can we scroll to the next page, please, Tom? Is there anything about this photo that you noted as part of your analysis, Mr. Neumeister?
Yes, again, it's right there, you've got photos 3.0 on that particular photo. And I think, we pretty much covered what the stuff is, but again, you see the photos 3.0. And again, this could not come out of an iPhone this way. This would go into a computer, be edited and rendered through the photo editor. And this would then be embedded in the EXIF data.
Do you have other photos in this demonstrative?
Yes.
All right, can we scroll to the next page?
Same thing. You've got up here in the top, you've got the photos 3.0. And this is throughout a lot of the photos that are in evidence, or versions of the photos in evidence, were gone through photos 3.0 or photos 1.5, an earlier version.
Can we scroll to the next page, please, Tom? And what about this one?
Same thing, photos 3.0. And again, in a photo editing app, you can do an awful lot of things. So when you see photos 3.0, first of all, you know it's not anywhere near an original. There's going to be compression artifacts because it's a JPEG file.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question. Can we move on to the next page of this demonstrative, please?
And again, same thing. You've got the photos app.
Okay. And I believe there's one final photo in this demonstrative. What about this one?
Again, if you look up there, it says photos 3.0 on that particular photo.
All right, we can take that one down. Your Honor, I have a little bit left. I don't know if you wanted to.
All right, you want to take our afternoon? Let's go ahead and take our afternoon recess.
All right, so there you have it. Basically, what he's saying is that the exit data, is that what it's called? Yeah. Shows what where those photos came from and what those photos had been through. So I want to show you guys this. Give me just 1 second because I gotta upload it to here. I don't want a background. Here is what I want. So Shmita has her location turned off. So she did the same thing I did and sent it to me. So I want to show you guys that. Give me just a second. And then I'm going to show you when I saved that screenshot that she sent me and I pushed info, what I got. All right. So let me add the second one. All right. So this, cripes, I put one thing. This is the screenshot that Shmita sent me. All right. Says all the things. Okay. This is what happens when I save her screenshot, and this is me. Now, I have no idea why it says Thursday, May 26, 2022 at 2:59 a.m. because my clock is set correctly, so I don't know why it did that. But you see how you can't just you can't just you can't just you can't get away with doing things like this anymore. Okay. Back in the day when we didn't have all the things that we have now and new technology to extract the stuff from our phone. See, back in the day, you used to have to go to the phone carrier, the service provider, right? And get the texts and get any photos and just all of that stuff, right? But now you don't have to do it. Your phone, well, I really shouldn't say your phone, your device is the snitch. It's going to, when that data gets extracted, it's going to tell the person who's reading the data or the extraction everything about that photograph. So for Amber to say that the reason that the exit data reads the way that it does is because it automatically saves the photos to that editor, that photo editor, which doesn't make sense to me. It's because, I mean, yes, you can. You can set settings on your phone, obviously. However, I'm going to look right now. I'm going to look at my camera. I'm going to look at my settings, and I want to see if I can, I think I have to do it from the settings menu. I want to see if I can set my phone to save in one place and that's it. Like if I just save it, if I just want to save it to the to camera and not have it saved to Google. I know I got to figure out how I do that. Oh, right here. Let me see this. All right. Huh. These are the permissions. I don't want that. Let me look at this. Yeah, I can't. I don't have a way to change where photos are saved. So there you go. That's our little experiment. And the last witness today was the lady at the airport. She worked at the. She was an airport employee. She worked at the airport at the time when Amber Heard and her ex-wife got into a physical altercation, and let me her testimony is really brief, and then I think that's going to be it for your girl. I'm getting kind of tired, and we still have tomorrow and all that. So let me but I do want you guys to be able to see that. Excuse me. Yeah, her testimony is like 3 minutes. Hold on. Let me screen share. So I don't, the only problem that I have being like saying that this is conclusive evidence is the fact that I have an Android and Amber has an iPhone. So maybe one of you iPhone users could check out and see if you have an option to change where your photos are stored, because my photos are stored in 2 different places. Mine is stored in I can look in the camera setting and I can look in Google Photos. All right, here we go. Let's play her real quick. She's real quick.
In this matter, Amber Heard.
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with her?
I met her in 2009 at SeaTac International Airport.
Why were you at the airport?
I worked there.
What happened when you met Ms. Heard in 2009?
I was in the baggage claim area and I observed her with a traveling companion, and they got into an altercation where Ms. Heard had grabbed her traveling companion and pulled something from her neck. At that point, I got up and went over to try to break up what appeared to be a fight. And I summoned a colleague to help me, and I stepped in between them and separated them, stopping any further injuries or escalation.
How would you describe the interaction between Ms. Heard and her traveling companion?
Ms. Heard was aggressive towards her traveling companion, and she had reached up and grabbed her arm and pulled a necklace off of her, and then I observed her having it in her hand. She seemed to be not very steady on her feet. Her eyes were blurry and watery, and I could smell alcohol.
What was Miss Heard's traveling companion's reaction to being assaulted by Miss Heard?
Objection, relevance?
And I'll sustain the objection.
On relevance?
Yes.
Okay. What did Miss Heard's traveling companion do?
She raised her hands in what appeared to be a defensive manner. But other than that, she was pretty stoic and didn't really respond much. Her stature was 2 or 3 inches taller than Miss Heard, so she didn't really need to have to defend herself.
How would you describe Miss Heard's demeanor when you stepped in between Miss Heard and her traveling companion?
She was somewhat dismissive. She just said, we're just having an argument. We're fine. We're fine. Because I was asking if they were okay. Are you okay? Is there anything wrong? What's going on?
Of course,
and
her
Objection,
was-
hearsay, just objection, hearsay to what she's saying.
All right.
of course, her traveling companion reacted in the way that she reacted. I mean, she knows that with Amber, you have to treat her like a T-Rex who's gotten loose at Jurassic Park. No sudden movements. I mean, come on. Like
Sustain the objection. Next question.
What, if any, injuries did you observe?
You're not.
on
You're
Miss
talking
Heard's
about
traveling
exactly what
companion?
we're talking about, Tony.
She had abrasion on the side of her neck where the necklace was, like a rope burn from the chain as it was removed.
All right. So that's what she said. But hold on. I wanted to hear Elaine's cross because she was so nasty. Oh, is this the same one? Yeah. I wanted you guys to be able to hear the cross-examination because it's kind of, it's right on brand for Elaine. So when I was saying that my photos save in 2 places, I should be very clear about that. My photos meaning pictures that I take with my camera, those are saved to camera and they're also saved to Google Photos. Let's see. They don't have it and I don't want to. All right. We'll play it your way. Give me just a sec to get there. Give me just a sec, you guys. I'm working on it, getting it right to the spot. All right, let me get you guys there. All right.
Of this situation, specifically this trial, because I was sent an email anonymously. I don't even know who it came from, asking.
Objection,
All
hearsay.
right, I'll sustain the objection.
How would you generally describe Ms. Heard's behavior on the occasion you met her in 2009?
Objection, Your Honor. I already asked and answered the specifics.
No.
What happened?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, cross-examination.
Ms. Leonard, when did you contact counsel for Mr. Depp?
Late last night.
Late last night.
Hold on, I will
And this
tell you.
happened
Give me just
in
a second, Tony.
2009, correct?
Yes,
13 years ago, correct?
yes,
And you know that this trial is being televised, right?
yes,
And so you know that if you have something that might be significant to say, that way you can get on television, right?
Here we go. Nobody even watches TV,
no,
Elaine.
I had
Calm
no
down.
desire to be on television. I actually waited for a call and wondered why I hadn't been contacted.
All right, but you reached out and contacted them last night, correct?
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you. I have no further
All right, any redirect?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thanks, Ms. Lynn.
So basically, everybody who testifies in this case is looking for their 15 minutes of fame. So it isn't that Amber tried to do anything with the metadata, Tony. What is in question is, were those photos edited? Were they photoshopped? If so, you know what I mean? That's why it's an issue, because there are many, many people who testified on behalf of Johnny Depp who saw Amber in the time after this assault had occurred. And this is the assault that happened on May 21st of 2016. It was the one where Amber said that Johnny Depp hit her threw a phone and it hit her in the face. Okay. So after that all happened, of course, her and Rocky Pennington are having they're taking pictures. And the allegation is that these pictures have been altered. And Amber's response to that is, no, they have not been altered. The reason that the metadata reads the way that it does is because that's how my phone works. It saves all of my pictures from my camera roll to Photos 3.0 or whatever the photo editing app is. So yeah, that's why it was, that's what the issue is. So there you go. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, that witness, as much as he did tell, one thing that he can't say is who photoshopped those pictures, if they were photoshopped, because just because they were on Amber's phone doesn't, the thing of it is that they have testimony from Rocky Pennington saying that she's the one that took the pictures, which means that at least one other person had access to Amber's phone and those pictures at some point. Then there is the deposition from Rocky Pennington's ex-husband, Josh, and he also took a few pictures on that day. So he also had access to Amber's phone at some point on that day, right? So they can't actually, Photo 3.0. Thank you, Coolest Reviews. So they can't actually say who is the one that may or may not have photoshopped the pictures, but they definitely went through some type of editing software. And that's really what he was limited to saying. He wasn't actually allowed to testify how they were edited and how he knows they were edited, because he does know that. He was stopped repeatedly from answering that question. So anyway, this is where I leave you guys. I thank you to the mods. Thank you guys all for being here. The chat is wonderful as always. Y'all are the coolest chat, I swear. I'm want you guys to have a great night, great rest of your night, and remember to hug your loved ones a little bit closer. And our thoughts and prayers are still with my fellow Texans and their families. And I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:45. Oh, no, Tony, don't you worry. I love to do a rundown. It's my favorite thing. All right, you guys, I will see y'all tomorrow morning at 8:45. All right, good night.